Edinburgh, the old city within the modern capital, which holds many a tales to be told. One of those most infamous of all were the extraordinary crimes committed by a man called Burke and another called Hare. Remember, when the sun goes down, there's money to be made. Life was hard in the 1800s in Edinburgh. And the wee closes, the tunnels, were a dangerous place for many a man. If you don't believe me. Amongst the darkness, to find the real crimes, you have to follow the money. And it was here, in Greyfriars Kirk, where the money was to be made. Edinburgh was one of the front runners of the medical practice. And just round the corner from Greyfriars Kirkyard was a place called Surgeons' Hall. Now that Surgeons' Hall was a very important place educationally. And the word is, you could make a buck or two for a fresh body. Suicide victims, prisoners and orphans were the only bodies allowed for dissection under Scottish law at the time, which led to a huge demand in bodies for the surgeons. With a huge sum of money on offer, the grades of Edinburgh started to become fortified by the rich, with towers being put in place to watch over the deceased. And what about the poor? They needed their bread and honey. So they dug up someone's mummy for a wee bit of money. There were a couple of Irishmen, immigrants as they were, one Burke and one Hare. Mr. Hare owned a lodge down in the Grass Market. And one night an old soldier died owing a grand total of £4 and 10 shillings to Mr. Hare. So he called in the help of his good friend, Mr. Burke. And the two of them took the body in the dark of the night all the way to Surgeons' Hall to be sold to Dr. Knox. £7 and 4 shillings. How does that sound to you? For Burke and Hare, it's too much money to refuse. And the two men got a wee taste for that body money. In the streets of Edinburgh, they had to beware. Burke and Hare were on the prowl. And it was these narrow, dark, wee closes of the city centre where there were many vulnerable victims lying astray. And Burke and Hare would invite these vulnerable people back to their homes, where their wives would comfort them. 12 women, 2 men, and 2 disabled children were all deceived, taken back to the house and smothered to death by Burke and Hare. On the night of Halloween 1826, a woman called Margaret Docherty would be tempted back to the Irishman's house. The next day, Miss Docherty's body was found by another lodger, and the lodger would not give in to bribery. And as she let the police know, when the police finally got to the lodge house, Margaret's body was already here in Surgeon's Hall, ready to be taken to pieces by Dr. Knox. Burke and Hare provided nice, fresh bodies with the words of Dr. Knox as he testified in court. He said he had no way of being suspicious of the Irishman, as the bodies were in perfect condition every time. Hare decided to give in to the law, and he was offered immunity if he grasped on his friend and himself and their crimes. So, Burke and his wife had to stand up in court, and they were found guilty of the murder of Docherty. As for the other victims, well, their bodies were already in pieces, stripped down to the bones, all for the sake of science. With the city of Edinburgh infuriated by these crimes, not long after his trial, Burke was taken and hung in the city centre, where, ordered by the judge, his body should be shown to all. So, if you want to have a little look in Surgeon's Hall today, you will find the skeleton of William Burke, and you will find his face mask from death. But of the prized possessions, you will find a book made out of his skin. And as for Hare, he ran away. Some say to London, some say to the far north, Applecross. But one thing's for sure, he dare show his face in Edinburgh again. That's it, guys, another wee adventure with me, Aaron Avalaba. Hope you enjoyed today's story, and if you did, don't forget to hit subscribe, give me a wee thumbs up, and until the next time, cheerio the new.